little dark, but not too bad. A lot of brake dust. Other than an awful lot of brake dust in the last 10,000 miles, those don't look too bad. Shoes are looking about half life already. Spindle looks good. Everything looks pretty good so far. And everything is moving and doing what it's supposed to. Before I go to fully cleaning everything up here, I'm going to put a few squirts in my Easy Lube system. Blow out any old grease. Just like that. Comes out right of that hole. That's why you need to spin your wheel or bearing when you're doing a grease or re-lube like this. But I'm doing a full breakdown today. So I'm going to pull all those bearings out, wash them up, put a new seal in. I like to do that at least every 10,000 miles. In between, I'll just squirt some grease in and flush the bearing at 5,000. But everything's looking pretty good for the most part, other than a bunch of brake dust. So I think we're good to go for cleanup and reassembly. A little brake clean will do you. Let's pop that seal out. There we go. Oh, this job's so much easier when you pay someone to do it. Take a look at our inner bearing here. Grease looks pretty good other than being a little dark. That's normal. And without getting this thing fully cleaned out yet, I can tell you right now that these bearings look pretty good and safe to use. There's no major scoring, marring, or bluing indicating heat. So now it's time to clean all this out. Drum wear looks fairly well. Got a little bit of light scoring in here from the magnet. That's where it drags. It pulls that, pulls your brake shoes in and out. That's pretty much normal. Now I'm just going to flush this all out with some brake clean. Get all that old grease out, brake dust, any grease that touched the braking surfaces. And because I don't have a legitimate parts washer, I like to use some WD-40 and initially flush the bearings out first. This stuff works great because it is a solvent. And then I'll come back with some brake clean and blow it out with that. Make sure it's really clean and spotless before I repack a bearing. And you can see how well that WD-40 totally cleaned that up. Now I'm going to hit it with brake clean to make sure all that WD-40 is out of there. And this outer bearing is showing very minimal signs of scoring. So we are good to reuse that also. Now a little brake clean. Blow that thing out. Now for the messy parts. Bearing packing. I'm going to start with my clean big rear bearing and move that wad of grease right into my palm and press the lip edge down right into it like that. That way it packs that grease right up into the bearing race. I'm going to do that a bunch till it works its way all the way through, working my way around. Eventually I'll buy an actual bearing packer tool. Makes this a lot easier and a lot faster and a little less messy. But for now, this does the trick. Then I'm going to coat the inside of my bearing race with a bunch of grease. Make sure we got plenty of grease on this thing. All around. I'm going to drop my bearing into my hub or drum. Face down, cone side, tapered in. Just like so. Then I'm going to take a brand new seal. Always make sure you use a new seal. I'm going to set this in here nice and even like. Using a rubber mallet or something softer, I like to just gently tap all around the edge just till we get this thing started and work it around the edge here so everything's nice and even and pressed in. You could use a block of wood or you can carefully work your way around nice and evenly. Just on the edge of that seal. just like that, until it's nice and flush with the drum. Good to go. Then I'm going to take a little bit of grease and wipe that on my grease seal so it slides on nice and easy. And it spins roundy round nice and smoothly and keeps things sealed up in there. And I'm going to take a big old dollop of grease all over my spindle, get that prepped before I do the front bearing on that hub, just like so, just to make sure we got plenty of grease, even right up here on the grease seal area, just a little bit, all the way around. This is a messy job, and honestly it's probably only going to save me about $75 from having somebody else do it, but hey, that's more trip money, and I know that I did the right job, hopefully. Now my front bearing's all packed and greased up. I'm going to set that down, taper side in, just like that. The grease cap's all cleaned up. So is our washer and big old lock nut. And I bought a new set of locking nut rings here. That's always a good item to have just for safety reasons, and you can keep the extras for a backup or emergency. Carefully slide our drum back on, holding our bearing on the outside. Just like so. And we're going to take our washer, slide that on. Our big old nut. And I'm going to spin this drum while I snug that up just till about the drum stops to make sure the bearings are seated. Then I'm going to loosen that nut by hand. I'm going to back it off. And then I'm going to snug it right up by hand. Make sure nothing in there is dragging too much other than the brake. You don't want to squish your bearings. Then after that, I'm going to back that off about a quarter turn. And it looks like we have almost no play, so it's going to be right around here. Then we're going to take our cage nut lock here and line that up the best we can with this nut, and it'll more than likely be just about where you need it anyway. And snap this thing over. There we go. Barely any in play. You can barely hear that clicking. That's not a whole lot of moving. It's about where we want to be. And to make sure that our hub is fully primed up here, I'm going to take the extra step and do like I do with a flush. Just enough to get some grease to come out of that. Fill up that center cavity of the drum. But you got to keep turning it while you're pumping grease in. And for this case, I'm just going to go till I see grease come out because I don't need to do a full flush like I do at 5,000 miles. Just keep everything moving and keep pumping the grease. And there we go. Take all this excess here and wipe it off. Now we can put on our grease cap. Using a rubber mallet, just gently working all the way around. And it looks like our cap is on and installed. We'll put our actual grease cap back over that. And I think we will be good to go. And before I put the wheel back on, I decided to add some of this plastic wire loom wrap to my brake wires here because they do rest up here, and it did look like they were rubbing a little bit, although they didn't rub through the wire. But I figured that'd be a good idea for some extra protection. And before I get this wheel and tire back on, I want to show you these stupid lug nuts. And I think even Ford and a couple other car companies do it this way. You can see it has this like outer metal cover on the nut itself. And these things are garbage. And if you live in a freezing climate and you get water in there, water will freeze and expand. It could split these. Plus, if somebody over-torqued your wheels, which they shouldn't, to go and get these off might be a little tough, and you could split this outer metal sheathing or covering or whatever the heck it is. I really don't know the purpose of doing that, but more than likely tomorrow I will take these into one of the local tire shops and see if I can get an actual steel solid nut. But now that all of our lug nuts are hand threaded on, I can use Mr. DeWalt just to snug these things up very carefully. In a crosshatch pattern. And now that we got the trailer back down on the ground, I'm going to torque this thing to about 105 foot-pounds. I'm not sure that's the exact spec on here. I know it's like 100, 105. I think that is plenty enough torque for this aluminum wheel lug nut configuration. Of course, in a crosshatch pattern. I'll do one more check. Good to go. Good thing I got this done when it was only 105 today. Either way, it's just a lot easier to take that to a professional trailer shop and have them do it. Now I got to do the other side. Alright, the trailer is back on the ground. I took it for a little ride around the block. None of the wheels fell off, nothing got hot or burned up. So I may have done that job correctly. And while I was at it, I ran out, picked up a little extra propane, because we're going to need that, because I think it is fire ban season. But the trailer is prepped, full of water, charging up, and ready to roll. Not a whole big detailed how-to when it comes to trailer bearings. Just an idea of what it takes to do that in case you think you want to do that yourself. And by the way, I don't know anything. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an RV tech. I'm just some dude out here on the internet putting up my home movies. So don't take my advice on anything. But either way, I thought that'd be kind of cool to do once again, to kind of show some of you out there what it takes to do your own trailer bearings. And quite honestly, even though it's only done every 10,000 miles or once a year, it is a pain. By the time you're done buying everything to do that job, or maybe some tools you may need, you probably should have just took it to a trailer shop or RV shop and had them do it anyway for like 150 or 200 bucks. Which I may do myself, and at least bring it home and inspect it afterwards to make sure they did the job correctly, because that is a messy pain. But either way, it's a good thing that it only happens once a year or every 10,000 miles or so. And I got lucky enough that this rotation, according to mileage, landed before we hit full summer. It's only 105 today, so that's a lot better than 110 or 120, like when I had to do the bearing maintenance last year. And at about every 5,000 miles, I'll use that Easy Lube system and completely flush the old grease out until I see new grease in between, just to make sure everything's all lubed up and good to go in between that 10,000 mile teardown and bearing maintenance. And once again, in about a week or two, I should be heading out on an actual camping adventure. And I just so happened to luck out and get one of the oddest looking campsites that I've ever seen. And I figured I'd better get while the getting's good, especially before it becomes too hot in that area. And we'll find out if the tab's wheels fall off or burn up. Either way, see you all in the next episode.